The world had just survived the deadliest war in history. But peace didn't mean safety. Before we begin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world. In 1945, two powers rose from the ashes, the United States and the Soviet Union. They were allies in war, but enemies in belief. The world was split in two: capitalism versus communism, freedom versus control. This was not a war of bombs and soldiers, but of influence, fear, and power. For the next 50 years, humanity lived under constant tension, a silent war of ideologies. At the Yalta Conference, world leaders carved up post-war Europe, planting seeds of future conflict. The Soviets expanded across Eastern Europe, forcing communist rule behind an iron curtain. The West responded with unity, forming alliances to contain the spread of communism. In 1949, the United States and its allies formed NATO, a military shield against Soviet aggression. In turn, the Soviets created the Warsaw Pact, uniting communist states under Moscow's command. Nowhere was the divide clearer than in Germany, split into East and West. Berlin became the front line of the Cold War. When Stalin blockaded West Berlin, the Allies answered not with bullets, but with planes. For nearly a year, cargo planes dropped food and fuel, a lifeline known as the Berlin Airlift. It was the first major confrontation of the Cold War and the first Western victory. Then came the arms race. Both sides built nuclear weapons powerful enough to destroy the planet. This terrifying balance of power was called mutually assured destruction. No one dared to strike first. Propaganda filled every home, each side claiming moral superiority over the other. The rivalry turned bloody in Korea. North backed by the Soviets, South by America. It was war once again. Millions died, and yet nothing changed. The Korean border remained frozen in place. In the shadows, spies battled silently. Secrets became the most valuable weapon of all. Then came a new battlefield, space. The race to the stars became a race for global dominance. In 1957, the Soviets shocked the world by launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. The United States responded by creating NASA, vowing never to fall behind again. The space race became a symbol. Whoever conquered the skies controlled the future. In 1961, East Germany built the Berlin Wall, turning a city into a prison overnight. President Kennedy called it a wall of shame, dividing not just a city, but the entire world. 1 year later, the world came closer than ever to nuclear war, the Cuban Missile Crisis. American spy planes discovered Soviet missiles in Cuba. Kennedy demanded their removal or war. For 13 tense days, the world held its breath, waiting for one wrong move. Finally, a secret deal ended the standoff. The missiles were removed, and nuclear war was avoided, barely. But even without missiles, the fear remained. The Cold War was now a psychological battlefield. America used movies, music, and advertising to spread its dream of freedom and prosperity. The Soviet Union countered with parades, pride, and the promise of equality for all. Then came Vietnam, where ideology became blood. The world watched another nation torn in two. After years of war, the U.S. withdrew, leaving millions dead and a divided legacy behind. By the 1970s, both sides were exhausted, leading to a fragile peace known as détente. Leaders met, shook hands, and signed treaties to limit nuclear weapons. Hope returned, briefly, but peace shattered in 1979 when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. The Cold War reignited. America boycotted the Moscow Olympics, and proxy wars flared across the globe. Then came Mikhail Gorbachev, a Soviet leader unlike any before him. He wanted change. His policies of glasnost and perestroika opened the door to freedom and reform. But that door couldn't be closed. Across Eastern Europe, the people rose up and demanded liberty. In 1989, the Berlin Wall, the symbol of division, finally fell. Crowds from both sides embraced, celebrating the end of nearly 3 decades of separation. Within months, communist governments collapsed across Europe like dominoes. By 1991, even the Soviet Union itself dissolved, ending the Cold War once and for all. The United States stood alone as the world's superpower, but victory came with questions. Nuclear weapons remained. Old rivalries lingered. The shadow of the Cold War never truly disappeared. It wasn't just a war of nations. It was a war for the soul of humanity. Thank you for watching the Cold War in 5 minutes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories from history.